Continuing the program today, we're so delighted for all of our sponsors and everyone who's responsible for us having this event today. And right now, I'd like y'all to show a warm welcome for our Wayne County Treasurer, Mr. Eric Sabree.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Commander Chapman. I wanted to thank again our sponsors, Fifth Third Bank and Health Alliance Plan. Thank you very much for helping bring this into existence. This is our second annual event for veterans. We wanted to make sure that we have many services that are available here today so that you could take advantage of them. As a treasurer, I'm honored to serve you as your treasurer. And one of the things that we do, of course, is to collect delinquent taxes. And in collecting delinquent taxes, we find that many of the taxpayers are struggling to pay, and we have many programs in our office to help folks keep their property. I want to go through some of the programs we have and some of the services that can be taken advantage of. They're not necessarily our programs in the Treasurer's Office, but they will help with taxes and help you get out of trouble. Now, one of the things we do with veterans is that if you come into our office and you want to get into a payment agreement, there are two types of payment agreements. One of them is if you own the property and you live in the property and you're an owner-occupant, you can get into a payment plan. It's an interest reduction plan. It only charges 6% a year for the interest if you own the property and you live in the property. Okay, that's a 6% interest. Now, what about if you're a 100% disabled veteran? If you're a 100% disabled veteran, you do not have to pay taxes, but you have to apply for this exemption with the City of Detroit. The Board of Review of the City of Detroit head is right here, Willie Donwell. He's right over there at the table. Hold your hand up, Willie. Now Mr. Donwell can explain to you what you have to do if you're a 100% disabled veteran. He will explain to you what the process is. You have to apply every year, and you can get an exemption if you're 100% disabled and not have to pay property taxes at all.
I got a question about that.
Well, I'm going to continue. And you have a question about the exemptions, I will direct it to Mr. Donwell as soon as he's going to come up and speak a little bit later. Also, if you're not a 100% disabled veteran and you have low income, you can also apply for an exemption. It's a different type of exemption, but it's based on your income. Mr. Donwell has that information as well. So maybe you have a 30% disability or 25 or 60% disability. Then you can still apply. If your income is low, you can apply for an exemption, for a partial exemption or a full exemption on your property taxes. So if your income is very low, you should not have to pay property taxes at all. All you have to do is make the application to the city assessor's office. Any city you live in, go to your assessor's office and apply for the exemption. Now, as far as our payment plans go, if you're a veteran, you do not have to make a down payment. You do not have to put down any money to get into a payment plan if you're a veteran. You come into the office, you fill out the paperwork, get into the payment plan, and start paying the next month. You don't have to put a down payment down if you're a veteran. You just have to have the DD-214 card and show that you were just discharged from the service and bring your ID. And that's all you have to do. So the veterans are taking advantage of this, and it seems to be working pretty well. We also have a payment plan. If you, say for instance, you don't live in the property, you can still get into a payment plan, but you have to pay, your interest rate is higher. You put down a percentage. Right now it's 10% down and 10% per month. And what happens is each month that you wait to get into the payment plan, it's a higher down payment. So you would get into it, for instance, in November, December, 10% down, January is 20%, until 60% in June. You have to have 60% paid by June. So these payment plans are available in our office. Also, there's a Veterans Trust Fund. And there's information that we have at our table, Veterans Trust Fund. Brochure is right over here at the treasurer's table. The Veterans Trust Fund has money available for veterans, therefore wartime veterans only. I'll read the eligibility requirements. If you're a wartime veteran or an expeditionary medal, you can apply. Honorably discharged, you have to be honorably discharged, and be unable to provide the basic necessities of life without causing hardship to you or your family. And they recognize the war periods: Persian Gulf, Vietnam, Korea, World War II. So those, if you're a wartime veteran, the Veterans Trust Fund can also help you, and also they have the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Fund. You can go to the office on Wayne County Veterans Service Office, 28 West Adams. There's a brochure, like I said, right at the table over here. This is what it looks like. This is a brochure for the Veterans Trust Fund and for the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Fund. Also, there's another program that's run by the state of Michigan. We also have a flyer for that at the table. It's the Step Forward program. This program is federal dollars that are set aside for the state of Michigan to help people who are facing foreclosure, mortgage foreclosure, and tax foreclosure. The funds are available to help those who own their home, live in their home, have had some difficulty paying their taxes, and are facing foreclosure. You can apply through the state of Michigan. We have flyers at our table at the Step Forward program, the state of Michigan Step Forward program. It's not for everyone. It doesn't work, but over 7,000 people have taken advantage of it in Wayne County, and how all of their delinquent taxes paid. It works like this. It's a forgivable loan. And what happens is it goes up to $30,000. You're eligible for up to $30,000. And you have to stay in the property for 5 years for it to be a fully forgivable loan. So if you, say for instance, you've got $10,000 in Step Forward funds to pay your taxes, and you decide to move after the first year, then you would owe 80% of that. You owe $8,000 back to the state program. But if you stayed in for 5 years, it would be entirely forgivable, and then you wouldn't have to pay anything. So that's an important program to apply for as well. If your income is not that low, or you're not 100% disabled, you can't get an exemption, you can also apply to Step Forward. They may be able to help you with some funds. So that's important. But in the Treasurer's Office, what we do, we try to work with everyone. We've had cases where veterans have come in the office, their property's been foreclosed. I'll tell you a couple quick stories, and just to show you, just to give you an example of what we try to do to help veterans. A couple of years ago, we had a young man come in. His house had been foreclosed. It was a couple of days before the auction was getting ready to start. He said, I just got this notice. My house is in foreclosure. I just got back from Iraq, and I'm trying to figure out how I can save my property. So I told him, I said, I thought we were out of Iraq like a couple of years ago. He said, well, what we've been doing over there is guarding all the equipment and all the artillery and trucks and tanks that was left behind. That's all we do all day and all night. We just have a little base there in the middle of the desert, and we're watching all the property that was left behind. So I just got back about a few weeks ago, found out my house is vacant, it's foreclosed, and when I was in service, I got divorced from my wife, and what happened is she was paying the bills when we were together, then we got divorced, then everything just fell apart. I didn't realize the house was vacant. So can you give me some more time to pay? So I asked him, did he have any money? He said no. So I told him, I said, look, you have any money to pay? He said, look, man, I just got home, I don't have any money, I'm gonna get a job, and I just need more time. So I said, look, I can't really foreclose on your property, see you losing your property based on the situation you just described to me. So what we're gonna do is this, I'm gonna take the property out of foreclosure, and give you a chance to come and take care of it throughout the next year. So he said, okay. So then about maybe 6 months later, he saw me in the hallway. He called my attention, hey, I want to show you something, Treasurer. So he pulled out his receipt. He told me, he said, look, I paid up all my taxes. I got a job. I paid up my taxes. I just want to tell you, I want to show you this. The reason I'm telling you is because if somebody comes to you with some unbelievable story like mine, that you'll give them a chance. So this is kind of what we do, work with people, you know. And we had a veteran this year that came into the office with his, I think he came with his mother or aunt. He had a closed head injury. He was a young man, about 23, 24 years old. He had a closed head injury from fighting over, I think it was in Afghanistan, and he was severely injured. So he had lost his property to foreclosure. And he said, look, I don't have, he needed like $1,200 to get it out. And he had like $200 some dollars, $300. So he said, look, just give us $300. You know, we'll get you in a payment plan and we just work with you. Because, you know, you think about it, people go overseas, they leave their home, they risk their life every day. We're enjoying the freedom that they're fighting for, so it doesn't make sense really for them to lose their property for a few $100s. So that's the kind of thing we do. And then say, well, how can you do that? You know, they didn't pay enough to keep the house in foreclosure. Excuse me. They didn't pay enough money to do this. You know what? That's just what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do it, and as long as I'm the treasurer, that's what we're going to do. I had never served in the military. My story is kind of strange. I applied to go to the Army, and I took the test to go to the Army. I was working in Chicago. I was 22 years old, and I took the test to go into the Army. They came back and told me, you failed the test to get into the Army. I said, I can't believe I failed the test to get into the Army. I'm thinking I'm a smart person, you know, I'm pretty smart, I should be able to pass the test. You know, it's maybe you just made a mistake, you checked the wrong boxes all the way down, you failed the test by 6 points. So I said, I'm feeling about this big, you know, right at that point. Because I'm thinking about all the friends of mine who was in the Army, I thought that I was a lot smarter than them. So I'm thinking I'm just failed the test to get in the Army. So I'm feeling about this small that day. So I walk out, then they call me back they said, you can retake the test, don't worry about it, just retake it. So they take it, they said, they called me back and said, you know what, we gave you the wrong exam. I said, what exam did you give me? He said, we gave you the wrong exam, you failed the wrong exam. I said, it was a promotional exam for Navy pilots. I said, what? I said, I almost passed it. So that was, they said, well, you know, you can retake the test. Then, you know, after that, I never went back. That was my story. That's what happened. And so they had me right there. I was ready to go. And I didn't went, but I had many relatives served. My uncle served in the U.S. Marine Corps, and just buried him a few years ago. And he was an MP in the Marines. Was on the ship headed to Korea when the Korean War ended, and you know, he was a very proud Marine. When he passed away, you know, he had told me I was his personal representative of his estate. He told me, I want a Marine funeral. I want to go back to Chicago and be buried. He lived in San Diego. I want to go back to Chicago and be buried. So we made sure that he had his funeral. The Marines came and they did, you know, put him away like he wanted to. So I was really proud of that. And I'll tell you that I also had a cousin who served in Vietnam. He had a lot of problems when he came back, and he's doing much better now. But he had a lot of problems when he came back to Vietnam. He was attacked, and they killed most of his group out in the jungle. He said he was running for 5 days from the Viet Cong, and he just happened to survive. He said, you don't know what it's like sleeping for 10 minutes at a time and running for your life every day for 5 days. He said, you have no idea what it's like. So, you know, I just heard a lot of the stories, and then to top it off, I'm gonna tell you one last thing. In 2009, I was able to go to, I think it was 2009, go to France My son played college basketball, and their team went to France. And one of the things they did was go to Normandy and saw the beach of Normandy. And went to the cemetery. And when you see that sight, that's something that makes you realize the sacrifice that people made for this country. And France should be very grateful for what we did, because if it wasn't for that, they'd be speaking German right now. And when you see that, that is no beach. When you see it, it's not really a beach to me. It's just a big mountain they had to climb to get up to where it was just they had no chance at all. They had no chance at all. The sacrifice was there. So really, that became, when I saw that, I really took, the D-Day June 6th became a very, very important day to me, because I realized how important, what the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that people will give for their country. That's one reason why I'm real adamant about helping people, including veterans, save their property. Because many people have sacrificed for us to have the freedom we have, to have the ability to own property and do the things we do here. So we should not be losing it. We should not be losing it. There's no reason to lose the property. And one of the things we're doing this year, that we just started 3 weeks ago, our interns that we had came up with an idea this summer. I love college interns. I love the high school interns, because the young people, they're very smart and have a lot of innovative ideas. They came up with the idea, said, you're out knocking on doors, you all sending letters, you all calling people on the phone. That's really good, but you have to text people on the phone. That's the only way people pay attention. You have to use a text message. So they came up with a program, they researched it, found out how much it cost. It cost less than 1 cent for us to text someone. And 3 weeks ago, we started texting people in our payment plans. And there's been a good response so far. Taxpayers like it. So we're texting people, say if you're on a payment plan, your payment's due, and such a day, thank you for your payment. So now people getting these text messages every month, they won't forget. So we're doing that right now. The kiosk program is going well. We have over 100,000 transactions at the different kiosks that we have out. You can pay at various locations, 40 locations throughout the county. The kiosks are good, but we're working on one problem we got to fix with them, and hopefully it'll be fixed in the next few weeks, because it's very important. The kiosk, the way it used to be, we had our own separate icon on the kiosk, Wayne County Treasurer. Now they combined it to taxes, and a lot of people go there and they pay the city tax instead of the delinquent tax. So I told them, you got to take it and put us back separately, because we didn't tell them to do that. They did it on their own, and then the city has got the 36th District Court on there. They got the city rental registration on there. They have the city put us with the city on the taxes. I don't want to be with the city on the taxes, because some of the people are paying the current taxes and not paying the delinquent tax. And they're very upset. And they say it's a conspiracy between me and Mike Duggan to take their house. And I don't blame them, because, it was a change made, and I told them, they said, they got to fix that. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, if not fixed, it's going to be a big problem, because we have, people paying what they can afford to pay. And if they pay the city's not going to give them that money back, because they owe it. It's a current tax they owe. They're not going to give it back to them. So we're working with the DivDat to make sure that gets fixed. And that's something that has to be done. So I want to thank everyone for coming out today. I want to thank you, and I want to tell you that if you have a problem in our office, just make sure that you contact someone in management. Don't walk out of the office until you understand exactly what your situation is and what you have to do to fix it. Because especially if you come down there and pay to park and stand in line, and don't leave the office until you find out what's really going on. And we're going to work with other agencies. The United Community Housing Coalition works with us. Wayne Metro works with us. We partner with them because they have other services they can help you with. They have free lawyers at United Community Housing and Michigan Legal Services. And Wayne Metro can help you with utilities. They can help steer you to help with water bill, DTE, free legal services, probate issues, things like this that you have. that you want to get help with, we try to work with others who are experts at doing this, and that's about it. I don't think I missed anything. Let me make sure. I don't want to miss anything. Well, here's what I want to tell you. When you're buying property, it's very, very important to notice before you buy a property whether there are back taxes and water bills on the property. Because what happens a lot of times, people, they buy the property through a quitclaim deed. They don't go through a title company to get the title cleared. They'll buy it through a quitclaim deed, which means that you have whatever person's selling you, that's what you get. So if they have water bills, you get them too. If they have taxes, you get that too. So this is the law. This is the law. I'm just telling you. So you have to know when you're buying property, you have to do the research, due diligence, or hire someone to do it for you to find out if the property has back taxes. Because we get people show up at our office and say, this is like a month before foreclosure time, say, oh, I just bought this house. You know, I see I got a $7,000 tax bill for 3 years, and I just put a roof on my house. I just put new windows in the house, and now you're about to take my house. Say, now how can you do that? And of course, if we just wanted to give the legal answer to them, we say, well, that's not our fault that you didn't know. You bought the house and you owe the taxes. That's not our responsibility. But we don't do that. We work with the people because we know that they didn't know that what they were doing. And that's important. That's important to know what you're doing, because you might not have someone in our office, you might not have a treasurer like me who's going to pay attention and try to take that in consideration. And that might not happen. So I'm just saying you have to look and see what's going on and make sure that if water bills and taxes owed, that you don't either make sure they're paid before or make sure your purchase price is less so you can pay them yourself. And the last thing I'm going to say is the yellow bags that go out on the doors when we're doing that right now for next year's foreclosure. Noticing people, letting them know. That's not it's a lot of people get those notices and they think it's the end of the world for them. But those notices are required by law just to notify people that they have 2016 or prior taxes owed. Letting them know they need to come in and get into a payment agreement, find out what their options are so they can save their property. We have to do it by law. We have to notify people in 4 different ways. We have to do a personal visit, which we do to the property. We have to send out first-class mail. We have to send out certified mail. And we also have to publish it in a newspaper, which we publish in the Legal News in December, 3 weeks in December, 2 or 3 weeks, and then we do the other 3. So those are the ways we have to do what by law requires us to do. We also send out a little postcard to people. We also knock on their door. We also do a lot of those things in addition to what the law requires. Because we have foreclosures that are at a 10-year low. Since 2008 is the last year the foreclosures were this low. My goal is 0 owner-occupants getting foreclosed. 0. Outside of Detroit, we had this year 28 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed. That's it. Outside of Detroit. In Detroit, we still have about 800 properties. 400 owner-occupied, I think, and 400-something tenant-occupied. So we're still working. We can get that number down to 0. I think the main thing is just getting the message out to people, letting them pay attention, and working with them to know that they don't have to give up, that they have a chance. So thanks for coming out. And veterans, we love you. Thank you for your service, and we respect everything that you've done.